This is going to be a video about how to clean a 1911. This happens to be a Ruger 1911. There are lots of different manufacturers, but the guns are all pretty much identical. Most of your parts are actually interchangeable from one maker to another. But anyway, this is going to be how to clean a 1911. We're going to start by clearing the weapon, making sure it's completely empty. You will notice that I do not put my hand in front of the muzzle until I have completely cleared the weapon to make sure it is empty. With this type of gun, you actually do have to put your hand in front of the muzzle in order to take it apart. So I'm going to check the mag well. There is no magazine in the mag well. I've already ejected it. It's right here. So you'll notice there's no ammunition in the magazine. I'll lay that right here. Now I'm going to pull the slide to the rear, and I'm going to look inside, and I can clearly see there's nothing in there. So I'm also going to rack the slide a couple times just to double check if there was a round in there. It should have grabbed it and pulled it out, but as you can see, the chamber is empty. I'm going to go ahead and set the gun back down. Now I will cock the hammer and engage the safety. Now I'm going to go ahead and push in and turn, and that will release that. This is your recoil spring assembly here. I'm going to actually just pull this right out. Now I'm going to deactivate the safety, and now I have to put my hand in front of the muzzle, sort of, but you'll see there's a little notch in the frame, in the slide right here, and that has to line up with the top of here. And when it does, you'll see there's a button on the other side here. I'm going to push on that. So I'm going to take and line this up, and then I'm going to push on the slide stop. This is the slide stop right here. So I'm going to grab that. I'll use my other hand so you can see a little better. And I'll take that out and I'll set it right down here. Now the entire assembly will slide right off. Now we have an empty frame right here, and I'm going to set that down. By the way, do not pull the trigger while you've got the gun disassembled and let the hammer fly forward, because you could damage the gun. So I'm going to actually push on the safety on the back of here, and I'm going to hold the hammer and I'll squeeze the trigger, and then I'll let the hammer slowly forward. That way I don't have to worry about causing any damage. Now I'll set that right down here. On this is part of the recoil assembly. I'm going to go ahead and remove the bushing. Just slides right out the end there. Now the whole barrel assembly will slide right on out the front of the gun. I'm not going to go into disassembling the firing pin assembly. We'll save that for a later date. For right now, this is just going to be a quick breakdown and cleaning. There's lots of cleaning kits on the market. Most people are going to have one of these. The toothbrush I added to it simply because it makes the cleaning job much easier. This is obviously something I picked up at a yard sale. You can see it was $2. These are available at Walmart or any gun store, usually 20 bucks or maybe even less. There's lots of different kits. I have one that I actually put into a fishing tackle box, and it has all kinds of stuff in it. I use boar snakes, I use all different kinds of stuff. But I'm going to try and keep this simple for new people just by using this. Personally, I like to use Break Free for cleaning. I do not work for Break Free. They don't give me any money. They don't endorse me in any way. But back around 1984, I was in basic training in the Army, and we were out in the field, and it was really, really cold outside, and a lot of the M16s were freezing up on us and jamming up. And the drill sergeant had a can of this, and he came up and started spraying down rifle actions, and it was like magic. All of a sudden, everything freed up, and they started shooting good, and I've been using this ever since. So, this is Break Free. CLP stands for Cleaner Lubricant Preservative. But I use this for my cleaning. There's also a good product called Hops number 9. I do use that occasionally, but this really does a good job. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to go ahead and set some of these parts aside, and I'm going to take and spray down the frame, just a really light little spray, just like so. And I'm going to use my toothbrush, and I'm going to just do a little bit of cleaning in here. Guns get really dirty just from one shooting. I use a lot of household items when I'm cleaning. Things as simple as a toothbrush or a Q-tip. I do use paper towels for a lot of things. A lot of people say you shouldn't use paper towels, but I've been using them really since about 1984, and it's 2018. I think if it was going to cause me a problem, I would know by now. So I'm just going to take a paper towel, wipe some of this stuff off. This is a gun. It's not a real delicate piece of equipment. You don't have to be afraid of beating it up, but I mean, you don't want to use a metal brush for cleaning parts like this. You don't want to scratch it all up. That's why I use a toothbrush. It's nice and gentle. Again, I'm going to go ahead and cock the hammer back and just wipe it out back in here. About once a year, or even every couple of years, depending on how often I shoot the gun, I will do a complete breakdown where I take the grips off, disassemble the internal mechanisms and everything. But that's way over the head of most of the students that are going to be watching this video. So we're just going to kind of keep it simple here. So that looks pretty good. It's cleaned out pretty nice. So I'm pretty happy with that. I'm going to just set this aside over here. My mat has a lot of oil absorbed into it because I've been using it for, gosh, decades. So that's why when I have a clean part, I like to set it aside because it'll just cover the stuff with oil when it's done. This is my barrel. I don't know if you'll be able to see this or not, but that's the inside of the barrel. It's a little dirty. So I'm going to take my brake free and I'm going to spray inside the barrel. And I'm just going to kind of let it sit in there for a minute. Let it soak into that. Now I'm going to grab my slide. And I'm going to spray my slide a little bit here and there with a little bit of this brake free. Just clean it up real nice. And then I'll take my toothbrush. And I'm just going to take my toothbrush and do a little work inside here. Clean this all up. Just make it all pretty. Now I'll grab my paper towel and I'm just going to wipe this down, clean it out real nice. Another thing that I like to use, like I said before, is a Q-tip. So I'm going to grab a Q-tip. I've got another box just off camera here where I've got other tools of the trade here. I've got my tackle box that's full of stuff. So one of the things I like to do is, there's little grooves in here. The barrel has grooves in the top of it down here. And I like to set it up so that those grooves, they line up with these grooves. So I like to clean these out really good. You don't want to have any grit or dirt in there because that will mar up the gun when the gun comes back to lock up with the barrel. So you can see how that cleans up real nicely even with just a Q-tip. Just trying to make it nice and keep a bunch of dirt from going flying around inside your gun and tearing up mating surfaces. So I'm going to pause the video for a second and go get another paper towel, because I've got some right here. So again, I'm going to wipe down the inside of this gun and just clean it out. You don't want to leave a whole bunch of oil in your gun. If you do, the first few shots you make at the range, you're going to have a whole bunch of stuff flying back at you. I was at a competition a couple of weeks ago, and I was shooting my M&P, and I apparently had left too much lube between the slide and the frame, because when I fired the first shot, my glasses were covered with oil, and I had to shoot the rest of the stage with crud all over the front of my glasses. And amazingly, I still scored pretty good, but it definitely slowed me down because I had to look a lot harder. You can see that this is just wiping stuff out and making it clean. It's not rocket science. The hardest part is really taking the gun apart and putting it back together. So there's our slide. That looks real nice. I don't know how well you can see that, but it is real clean. So I'm going to set that down. Another thing you can do is, my channels look real good here. If they were not, one of the things I would do is I would take a paper towel after I've already sprayed it down and scrubbed it with the toothbrush. Take a nice little screwdriver like this and wrap it with the paper towel and get it where it's got 3 or 4 thicknesses of paper towel on it, so you don't scar anything up. But then you can just take that and put it into grooves here and just gently work your way back and forth, and that'll help you clean out grooves like that. I'm going to set that aside. Now our barrel has been sitting for a little bit, so I'm going to go ahead and grab the cleaning rod out of here. So I've got the handle and the rod and the screw tip assembly here, right like this. And I like to use a nylon bristle brush to clean my barrels, unless I'm cleaning out